G'day, Marguerita here, and welcome to session number 2, EFT and Sound Healing for Success and Happiness. My name's Marguerita, and if you haven't seen session 1 yet, then I really suggest strongly that you go and watch that particular video presentation because it had a lot of housekeeping in it. It is about 45 minutes long, but it covered some great stuff on money and the struggle about money, and it also covered a lot of stuff about EFT that you really need to know before you proceed. So please, if you haven't seen it yet, stop this particular presentation and go and watch that one first. And what I want to do now is introduce myself. I am Marguerita Vorobioff. Please just stick with Marguerita. I'm happy with that. Sound healer, EFT practitioner, life coach, transformational speaker, and my whole purpose for doing this series and for doing anything that I do these days is to help people realize their full potential, to live the life of their dreams. And to do that, a lot of my focus is on helping them to release the negative belief systems and the things that are holding them back from actually realizing the things that they really want in life. And to do that, I use emotional freedom technique and sound healing, as if you've seen my presentations before, you already know. I also use other techniques as well, but these are the ones that I come back to, that I'm most familiar with, and that I find so extremely powerful and transformational. So the thing about EFT is that it can change things in pretty much within seconds, within minutes. Not seconds, but minutes. It can change your way within minutes. And as long as you have the right intention and the right focus, I don't believe that you can not receive some sort of positive effect from using this particular technique. So today, what we're going to be focusing on is actually the happiness part. I can teach you all about success, all about achieving better relationships, better health, more freedom. And you know, all of those things, all of the things that we desire in life come down to one thing. They come down to we think they're going to make us happy. So the funny part about that is that happiness, true happiness, is actually unconditional. And I think the 4 keys to happiness are, now I don't want you to think that I'm simplifying this and there's only 4 keys to happiness. I do want to point out a particular book that is very, very good by a lady called Marcy Shimoff, who wrote a book called Happy for No Reason. I've actually got 4 keys that I think can help us to be more happy in life. The first one is to embrace our emotion. We are emotional beings. I think the reason that we actually came here was to experience emotion. You think about it. You take emotion out of our existence, then we're just robots. There's no substance to us. But if we learn to embrace our emotions, I believe a lot of our suffering, a lot of our discontent is because we have not been taught how to deal with difficult emotions. And instead of experiencing them, embracing them, feeling them fully, the minute we get uncomfortable, we push them down. We don't actually allow them to expand within us, because once you allow a negative emotion to expand, it actually dissolves, believe it or not. If you have anger and you allow it to expand within you, it dissolves. Now, a lot of people think that's a contradiction, because I think, geez, if I let my anger expand, I'll end up like a massive volcano and I'll probably get a machine gun and kill an entire county or entire suburb. But the truth is, that's repressed anger, or repressed sadness, grief, anxiety, stress, overwhelm. That's what pushes us over the edge, because the more we repress it, the bigger it gets. It builds and it builds. It's like a pressure cooker. And when we hit that point that we explode, because, hey, I'm a female, I know what that's like to get to that point where I just explode. It's like there's no control. I have experienced that. I haven't experienced it very recently, fortunately. But we push our emotions down we get to the point that we're so filled up, we've got nowhere to go. The lid just blows. It has to, because it's got nowhere else to go, and then look out. That's what happens when we repress our emotions. When we feel them in the moment, if we release them immediately by embracing them, accepting them, experiencing them, and allowing them to actually fill every single part of us, they dissolve. They move through us. If there's no resistance, the emotions move through us. They disappear, they dissolve. They've got nowhere to go. It's quite liberating. This practice is very, very liberating, but it does take practice. The whole thing to this is you need to be fairly disciplined about your life. If you want your life to change, you need to be fairly disciplined about your life. And I know that confronts a lot of people, and they think, oh gosh, it all sounds a bit like hard work. But what's harder, staying where you are right now or moving into a place of true happiness? Is it not worth doing the work to move into true happiness? So embracing emotions, you stop making your emotions wrong. We judge our emotions, we make them wrong because they're uncomfortable. And let's face it, fear, anxiety, stress, overwhelm, anger, sadness, they're all frustration. They're all quite uncomfortable emotions. So we make them wrong. Stop making your emotions wrong. They are what they are. They're just emotions. In actual fact, your emotions can't hurt you. It's how you respond to your emotions that hurts you. It's when you resist your emotions that you feel hurt. That's the only way emotions can hurt you, is if you resist them and make them wrong. If you allow them freely within you, that doesn't mean that you express them out to the world and that you say you're feeling angry, that you let fly at the person who you believed caused your anger. You caused your anger. Your response to whatever has happened has caused your anger. They haven't caused you to be angry. Their actions might have been thoughtless. They might have been nasty, or a whole range of different things, and they might have maybe wanted to cause you anger, although in actual fact most people don't want to cause us negative emotions. It's just that the way we feel about what they've done causes us the distress and the discomfort and creates the anger within us. You don't have to allow yourself to be triggered by other events or people. You don't have to allow that to happen. And this is all about becoming emotionally intelligent. Now, another key to happiness is releasing attachment, living unconditionally. That means that we have made our happiness conditional by saying, I'll be happy when I have a bigger car, when I have a bigger house, when the children leave home, when I have a better job, when I have more money, when my health improves. True happiness is unconditional. And if we release our attachment to the things in our life, so instead of waiting till you get that bright, shiny new toy that will make you happy for a short period of time, but it might take a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months. Within a couple of months, it's something else that we desire. It's our attachment to something else that will make us happy. And our attachment, if we attach ourselves to our belongings, to our personal effects, to the things that we own, it's almost like they define who we are. And if we lose them, heaven forbid, it's like we've lost our identity. Our entire feeling of happiness depends on the things that we own, the roles that we play. We have an attachment to being a daughter, or being a wife, or being a mother, or being a doctor, or being a nurse. Our happiness depends, we've made our happiness dependent upon the things that we have in our life, and we have allowed them to define us. And as soon as we allow them to define us, we almost make out like they're a part of us. And to take those things away from us is like cutting off a limb. Now, seriously, if you think of it that way, does that sound rational and reasonable? What if you could release your attachment to all the things in your life? What if somebody could walk in tomorrow, take away everything out of your life, and it didn't matter? Because ultimately, it doesn't really matter. The things that matter in our life is love. Love matters, and nobody can take that away from you. They can take away the object of our love. They can never take away our love. And this is really, really important to remember. Sure, there are situations and circumstances that are going to cause us discomfort, grief, anxiety. Of course there are. That is life. But what do we do with that? Do we allow it to control us? Do we allow it to define us? Or do we choose to respond to life in an appropriate way and dissolve those particular emotions and then move forward? Because if you stay trapped in those emotions, you're going to stay stuck. There's no two ways about it. So living unconditionally, releasing our attachment to the things that we have in our lives. Get rid of the I'll be happy when. Choose to be happy now. You can choose to be happy right now. Now, for some of you who've never experienced this, never heard of this before, you may be going, she's loony. It's true. You can choose to be happy in any particular moment. It's your choice. Now, how empowered do you feel knowing that you get to choose? You have the power of choice rather than thinking, I can't be happy until. How disempowering is that? All of a sudden, you have given away all your power and put the possibility of being happy outside of yourself. Take that power back. Know that you can be happy right here, right now, if you choose to be. Now, I know a lot of people are struggling. A lot of people have struggled. I mean, humanity has struggled for centuries and centuries and centuries. But the more you practice this, and it is a discipline, it is an art, it does take practice. The more you practice this, the greater your life will become. The more happy you'll become. Okay, releasing expectations. And this is a little bit like releasing attachment, but this is releasing expectations on people, on events. Releasing our attachment to the outcomes. So for as far as success is concerned, we want to take action and then receive the outcome that we wanted straight away. It's not going to happen. Well, almost never. I guess it does happen sometimes, but we need to take many actions to actually achieve our particular outcome. But we want to take one action and receive the outcome right now. We are invested in the immediate outcome. If we let go of that attachment to wanting a specific condition to arise because of the action that we take. So if we release the expectation that we do this and then this will happen, then you can't be disappointed, can you? And disappointment is a source of suffering. So if you release your expectations of people, of how they're meant to behave, how we want to be loved, how we want to be respected, we want to be treated in a particular way, and we expect people to meet those terms. Well, I'm going to impose these terms on you and I expect you to meet them. And geez, aren't we disappointed, enraged, grief-stricken, sad, anxious, stressed, frustrated when people don't meet our expectations? It's the source of much of our suffering, is that people, our relationships, do not meet the expectations that we have imposed on them. And largely we impose those expectations without even letting people know that we've imposed them in the first place. Obviously, when we're in a relationship, we let people know, I expect you to do this, and this. Now, are you meeting every expectation of theirs, may I ask? Have they told you all their expectations, and have you said uncategorically, you know what, I'm going to meet every single one of your expectations, and I give you full permission to be angry with me when I don't meet those? Does that sound a little bit unreasonable? Flip it. Because we are never going to meet their expectations totally, because we are different people. We see life through different filters, and they are never going to meet all our expectations. So what happens if you release those expectations? It doesn't mean that we don't have responsibilities in a relationship, and it doesn't mean that we don't co-create, that we are not co-inhabitors. It just means we're not codependent. So our happiness does not rely on what the other person does. Now again, and I'm not stating that I'm a master of this. Please don't think of me as a master of all this. I am still a work in progress, let me tell you. And my husband can tell you that too. But the more I practice it, the better I get. And once you release those expectations and stop stop putting your happiness outside of you. Stop depending on other people to behave in particular ways to make you happy. Nobody else can make you happy. Only you can choose to be happy. Take back that power. So release expectations and release your attachment to outcomes. And the fourth one, let go of your wanting. Now, all of these really are interrelated, and they're not similar, but they are all interrelated and can be integrated into your life quite easily by raising your level of awareness, your level of consciousness. So a lot of what I do is to help people to raise their level of conscious awareness living on this planet. Again, a discipline and an art form. And when you let go of your wanting, so we talked earlier about your attachment to things and conditions, and this is letting go of the wanting. The more you want something to be different, we want things to be different. This creates a suffering. So if you're in physical pain, we want that to be different. We don't want to be in pain anymore. What happens if you no longer have that dependency upon that condition? And that can be a little hard to really relate to, because if you're in physical pain, it's very, very distressing. And to actually release your wanting it to be different can be quite difficult. But it's interesting that when you let go of your wanting that condition to be different, all of a sudden it begins to change. There's another amazing technique that I heard about recently called the release technique. And this particular technique is just absolutely profound. I heard an interview with a guy called Larry Crane, and this again is a very, very simple exercise, and it helps to release your resistance. So if you're resisting pain, again, you're giving it something to push against. But if you embrace it, if you allow it, if you let it come into you fully, then it dissolves too. Amazingly enough, your pain can dissolve if you simply allow it and stop giving it something to push against, stop wanting it to be different. We want our financial situations to be different. The wanting creates a suffering. What if you were to just accept where you were right here, right now financially? Just accept it. It is what it is. And if you stop wanting to change it, you stop the suffering. That doesn't mean you can't change it. It puts you in a greater place of power to be able to change it. It doesn't mean you stop setting goals. It just means that you stop being addicted to wanting this moment to be different. Stop wanting this particular moment, the conditions in your life, the people in your life to be different right here, right now. Then everything, all the suffering dissolves. There's no resistance. You can still look to the future and think, okay, well, this is how it is right now. How would I like it to be in a week's time? or in a month's time, or in 6 months' time, or in a year's time. But the minute you stop the resistance, the minute you stop wanting it to be different, wanting a better partner, or wanting a partner, or wanting your health to be different, or wanting a different job, or wanting a different car, or wanting a new TV, or a new house, or the minute you stop the wanting, the suffering goes away. It's quite extraordinary. Now, I am going to get into some EFT, and obviously this presentation is again going to go way over the 30 minutes that I had hoped to keep it under. But this particular subject could go on for hours and hours and hours. And the greatest gift anybody can give somebody else is to empower them to be happy. And if you embrace these particular philosophies in your life, and I'm not saying that there aren't other things that could help you to be happy. But what I am saying is that this is my experience. This is what I have realized for my life. And you might disagree with me. That's fine. I think it's really important that we all respect and accept each other's belief systems, in each other's philosophies on life. And if you agree with me, fantastic. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. What are your keys to happiness? What do you think will bring you true happiness? Okay, what's your experience, in other words? And if you'd like to, I'd love you to share that with me just by visiting my website. And we'll get more into that later. So they're what I think are the 4 keys to happiness. Now we're going to move through a couple of different emotions today, and I'm not going to cover all the ones I was going to cover. But firstly, we're going to move through anxiety, stress, and overwhelm. Okay, oops, sorry, let's go back. So anxiety, stress, and overwhelm. And obviously, if you're in any of these places, if you're experiencing any of these particular emotions, they're going to keep you from being happy. It doesn't mean that by releasing all these emotions, you're going to be instantly happy. Like I said, this is something that takes work on a daily basis to experience the true happiness that you can have moment to moment. But actually, once you release these, you'll be a step closer. What we're doing is we're moving through these to get you a step closer and a step closer and a step closer. Okay, so we're just going to do 2 short rounds. And again, these are purely guides. These EFT sessions are purely generic. If you can the more specific you can get, so the more you focus on the condition that's making you anxious, or a particular event that might be putting you in that particular frame of mind, or a belief system, if you can find the belief system that's creating your anxiety and your stress and your overwhelm, then even better, you're going to get much better results. These are purely a guide to get you started. And notice any thoughts that come up, any events that come into your mind, anything that comes up for you. Notice that, because that's specific to you. And then you can pause the video and go away and tap on those particular things that are specific to you. Specificity is very important, but generically we can get you started and we can actually bring those emotions down, but you won't clear them for forever, because there will still be the underlying reason that you feel anxiety, stress, or overwhelm. Once you get the reason or the belief system out of the road, man, opens up a whole new set of possibilities, because you're less likely to experience those conditions attached to that particular belief system. It doesn't mean, sorry that I talk so fast, I just want to fit so much in. I do hope you can understand me. It's just, you may experience those particular emotions attached to another belief system, but they won't be attached to that first belief system. So we are onions, guys. There are many layers to us. We are complex beings. And the more you do this practice, the more you do any practice, transcendental meditation, the work with Byron Katie, sound healing, the release technique by Larry Crane that I mentioned, the more you do any of these things, you find what's right for you. I use what's right for me. Okay, so let's get on with it. Tapping on the karate chop point. Even though I feel all this anxiety and stress because of what's going on in my life right now, I profoundly love and accept all of me. Now I'm just going to pause for a moment. Sorry, I should have done this before. Please rate your feeling of anxiety or stress on a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 being the least, 10 being the most intense it could possibly be. Rate your anxiety or your stress. Okay, back to the karate chop point. Even though this anxiety and stress is overwhelming me, I choose to love and accept who I am and how I feel. Even though all this stress and anxiety is ruling my life at the moment, and I can't seem to get a grip, I choose to love and accept who I am and how I feel anyway. Top of the head. I feel so anxious and stressed with what's going on in my life at the moment. Inside of the eye. It's only reasonable I should be so stressed considering what's going on. I feel side of the eye. I feel so stressed and anxious. Under the eye. Anybody would be stressed in my position. Under the nose. The life I'm living is very stressful right now. Chin. And I feel so overwhelmed by all the stress. Collarbone. I feel so anxious. Under the arm. What's going on in my life is very, very stressful. Top of the head. I wished I wasn't so stressed and anxious. Inside of the eye. I feel so overwhelmed by all this stress. Outside of the eye. I feel so overwhelmed by all this anxiety. Under the eye. It would be so nice if I didn't feel so stressed. Under the nose. But I don't see how that can happen considering my situation right now. Chin. I'm perfectly justified being so stressed. Collarbone. But the stress isn't really going to improve the situation. Under the arm. The stress isn't going to change anything actually. Top of the head. The stress is only making it worse. Inside of the eye. What if I could let go of the stress? Outside of the eye. How could I possibly let go of all this stress? Under the eye. Wouldn't it be nice if I could just release it a little bit? Under the nose. Maybe then I could see more clearly a solution to this situation. Chin. If I could just choose to be a little less stressed. Collarbone. I could see more clearly a way out of this situation. Under the arm. I could choose to be less stressed. Top of the head. I choose to be less stressed and anxious about this situation. And I feel better already. Take a deep breath in and release it. And again, in and out. Now I want you to go back and rate your feeling of anxiety, stress, and overwhelm on a scale of 0 to 10. Okay, if it hasn't come down to a 0 or at least a 1, then please pause this presentation and do anything that's specific to you, or you can go back and you can simply do the tapping that we just did. Use your language, use whatever works for you. As you become more familiar with this technique, use whatever works specifically for you. That's the great thing about EFT. There's no real rules. There are guidelines and there is a technique, but use it the way it works for you, okay? Just stick to the basic principles and you'll be fine. Now, you know how I said before that we need to embrace all our emotions? I want to address this particular thing in relation to EFT because a lot of people use EFT and lots of other techniques and tools to almost like a drug. Oh my God, I'm feeling really angry or really anxious right now. Let's use EFT to get rid of it now. And while that's effective to a point, and that's why a lot of these techniques have been developed in the first place, because of our level of discomfort with our emotions, just imagine for a moment if you took a few minutes to actually experience that emotion first, to allow it first. And I'm going to do that in the next tapping round, on the next round of emotions. I'm going to actually get you to practice that, because once you accept it, there's much more propensity for you to release it. If you're still resisting it while you're doing the tapping, then there's less likelihood, well, it'll be less effective. That's my experience anyway. EFT is extraordinarily powerful, but I have found that once I have gone into that emotion, not understood the emotion, I don't think we get to understand a lot of our emotions. And I think intellectualizing them really just adds to the problem, because we make it too hard, we make it too complex. Keep it simple. But the moment you feel it and you don't make it wrong anymore, it's much easier to release it. So I just wanted to add that little aside to using EFT. And we're going to practice that now with our frustration, our anger, and our disappointment. Oh boy, does disappointment rate highly there for our level of suffering, particularly when we're attached to all our outcomes and people and things and whatever. So what I want you to do is, starting with frustration and anger, is there something in your life that you're feeling frustrated about right now, or even angry about? Is there something within you that, and anger is such, it's actually the prevalent emotion for Western society. I can't comment on Eastern society, but certainly in Western society is probably the most prevalent emotion, and most of it's repressed, which is why we have road rage, surf rage now. Who would have ever thought that surfing we'd get surf rage? There's shopping rage. There's every single activity that we have in life now has a rage attached to it, and that's because of our repressed anger. So I want to say to you right here, right now, that if you are finding that you are getting so much anger and rage, or any particular negative emotion, that it is threatening to completely overwhelm you to a point where you can't cope with it, then stop. Go and see a practitioner, work with somebody, because if you don't know how to handle it, if you're not experienced with handling these intense emotions, then it can threaten to overwhelm you. Okay? And it's really important that you have a safe place to go and somebody who can kind of guide you through the process. So please self-monitor and make sure you look after your own wellness and health and well-being while using this technique. I cannot stress that enough, because it can become very, very intense. So now let's get back to our frustration and our anger. Think of anything that is causing you a deep sense of frustration and anger right now. On a scale of 0 to 10, how frustrated or angry do you feel? Whatever is more appropriate for you. Okay, now that you have rated that anger and frustration, I want you to go inside and I want you to feel it. I want you to feel where it is in your body. And I want you to accept it for what it is. Don't make it wrong. Don't resist it. Actually breathe into it. Breathe into wherever it sits in your body. Make it your friend. It's actually not there to hurt you. It's there to help you. It's pointing something out to you. Make friends with it. Get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Breathe into it. Don't shrink away from it. Don't contract from it. Allow it to expand. Okay, now tapping on the karate chop point. Even though I feel all this frustration, I profoundly love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have this frustration and anger inside of me, I deeply and completely love and accept who I am and how I feel. Even though this frustration feels so uncomfortable because of where I am in my life right now, I choose to love and accept who I am and how I feel. Top of the head. I feel so frustrated. Inside of the eye. If only things were different. Outside of the eye. I'm frustrated because of what's going on in my life. Under the eye. I'm frustrated because I really want it to be different. Under the nose. I feel so frustrated. Chin. Life just isn't turning out the way I want it to. Collarbone. And it doesn't matter what I do, I can't control it. Under the arm. I should be able to control it. Top of the head. I feel so angry that things aren't perfect. Inside of the eye. I feel so angry that they're not perfect. Outside of the eye. I feel so angry that it's not meeting my expectations. Under the eye. It should be different. Under the nose. I need it to be different. Chin. They shouldn't have done what they did. Collarbone. It shouldn't have happened that way. Under the arm. I'm really angry that it's not different. Top of the head. What if I didn't have to be so angry and frustrated? Inside of the eye. I can't change what is right now. Outside of the eye. And the anger's only making me uncomfortable and sad. My anger is only hurting me. I could let go of my anger just a little bit? What if I could let go of my frustration just a little bit? Collarbone. If only I didn't feel so frustrated and angry. Under the arm. I'm so frustrated and angry, and it's just making me really uncomfortable. Top of the head. I choose to release even a little bit of my frustration and anger. And I choose to respond to this situation differently. And take a deep breath in and release it. And again, in and release it. I do apologise. Sometimes I think I forget to verbalise the actual points. Just with each phrase, if I do that, just move on to the next point. You'll get the hang of it. I am sorry about that. So now go back and rate your feelings of frustration and anger. It should have come down a little bit. Okay, now as our last one, we're going to do disappointment. I was actually going to move on to a couple of other emotions today. Gosh, I can't even think of the word. I've been tapping too much. Not that I think you can tap too much. I tap all the time. But we're going to do disappointment, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I've gone way over time again today. I do apologise, but I hope you found this really, really helpful. So we're going to move on to disappointment. On a scale of 0 to 10, think of something in your life that you find disappointing. You might be disappointed in yourself. You might be disappointed in somebody you love. You might be disappointed in a situation. Just think of something that you find disappointing. Rate your disappointment on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being the least or nothing at all, and 10 being the most intense. Okay, tapping on the karate chop point. Even though I feel so disappointed, I choose to love and accept myself and the situation. Even though I'm disappointed at the way it's turned out, I choose to accept myself anyway. Even though I really feel disappointed in myself, I deeply and completely love and accept all of me. Okay, top of the head. I feel so disappointed about this situation. Inside of the eye. I just wish it could be different. Outside of the eye. It hasn't turned out the way I expected. Under the eye. And I feel so disappointed. Under the nose. I feel so disappointed in the way I handled it. Chin. I'm disappointed in myself. Collarbone. It could have turned out a whole lot better. Under the arm. I wished I'd handled it differently. Top of the head. I'm so disappointed in the way they behaved. Inside of the eye. I'm disappointed in the way it turned out. Outside of the eye. I really expected it to be different. Under the eye. I expected them to handle it differently. I expected them to be different. Under the nose. I expected them to be different. Chin. I'm so disappointed in this situation. Collarbone. I just wish it was different. Under the arm. What if this situation were different? Then I wouldn't have to be so disappointed. Top of the head. I wonder if this situation is the way it's meant to be. Inside of the eye. What if I could just see it differently outside of the eye? And I wouldn't have to be so disappointed. Under the eye. What if this situation is actually for my highest good? Under the nose. That would change everything. Chin. Then I wouldn't have to be so disappointed. Collarbone. What if I could release my attachment to this being different? Under the arm. Wishing it was different isn't going to make it different. Top of the head. I choose to release my disappointment and look for how this is for my highest good. Take a deep breath in and release it. And again in and let it go. Excellent. Now rate your feeling of disappointment on a scale of 0 to 10. Should have come down at least a couple of points, maybe several. If you've still got some disappointment there, then keep working with it. What specifically came up for you? If nothing specifically came up for you, go back and do that again. Is it related to a person, an event? Is it related to you? Any expectations that you have? Where is your disappointment coming from? And who made that situation wrong? This is another thing that we need to look at, is that we believe our thoughts. And this is there's a whole other conversation. But just imagine if you stopped believing your thoughts. Where are your thoughts coming from? Who made your thoughts right? Who says that what you're thinking is actually true? Is it true? This is the work of Byron Katie. Question your thoughts. Is that thought true? Is it really true? So stop just assuming that every single thought that comes into your head is true and correct. Question your thoughts. Be aware of your thoughts. Are they true for you? Okay, so that's all we're going to cover today because, as I said, I've gone way over time yet again, and I do apologize for that. But this work is so incredibly important, and I'm so passionate about this stuff. Now, if you haven't yet, I'll just go through this slide. I was going to work on guilt and shame today. Then go and check out my website. And before we go, I need to do a little bit of sound healing for you, because this is a very pivotal point of the work that I do. Now that you've done all that tapping, that incredibly powerful tapping, the sound healing that I do just comes in and shifts your vibration to a whole other level. So take another 5 minutes, guys. This is only going to take a couple more minutes. Find a nice quiet place to sit where you won't be distracted. And take a couple of nice deep breaths all the way into the bottom of your stomach, and let it out. make sure you bring all your attention and your focus to this moment. And again in. And as you breathe out, just totally relax. Okay, now that you're nice and relaxed, don't try to analyze the sound, just allow it to wash over you. keala. Minto prea shinto kinansia toštielantia moha. Minta prea kotsiasnea tatia notsa. Tialatia, mosta pra, nok tialata. Otsama. Shintalaktia kolla. Mishtalatia kotsa. Now just enjoy the silence for a moment. And as you allow the sound to integrate, I will send you a beautiful energy blessing called the Diksha blessing, which is all about helping you to move into a state of higher consciousness and awareness and love. So if you wish, just open yourself to receive the blessing. And take a nice deep breath. Bring yourself back into the room. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel yourself sitting on the chair. And bring your awareness back to your breath. And open your eyes. I do hope that you have found this session today truly transformational. And if you haven't yet experienced my website, please go and visit either my Facebook page, which is up on the screen at the moment, Having More Fun, or you can visit my actual website, which is healingandabundance.com. Now, if you haven't registered for all the free gifts that are there, and started interacting on the wall of my Facebook fan page, then I encourage you to do so you can experience this more fully, so you can integrate this more into your life. Because the more you integrate these practices and this information into your life, the more your life will continue to expand and take on a magic and a miraculous quality, and the more you'll be able to live the life of your dreams. And this is the reason I cover this material, is because your success and your happiness comes when you expand your consciousness. They are integrated and interrelated. And I believe these practices are very, very important and key to you achieving the success that you want to achieve in your life. So again, it was lovely having you for the presentation today. I hope you got a lot out of it, and I look forward to seeing you at either my website or my fan page. Take care and bye for now.